Hello friends, I'm Navina and today I will read you another story from the December 1982 issue of Chandamama. The story's name is The Best Listener. King Vishnuvardhan of Davalgiri was a great lover of music. On the occasion of Dasara, every year he organized a musical event. Renowned artists from his own kingdom as well as from outside participated in the event. Numerous people flocked to the Darbar hall to enjoy the festival of music. Once the king invited Narayan Bharati, perhaps the greatest of all living singers of the time, to participate in the event. Bharati was always very reluctant to attend public functions. Besides, he belonged to Haripur, a distant land, and he was an unwilling traveler. However, since the king's minister himself met him as the king's emissary, he could not refuse the invitation. A large crowd assembled to hear Bharati. The king was so engrossed in his music that he forgot everything else. At the end of the performance, the king hugged Bharati and exclaimed, Bharati, I am lucky to get a chance to hear you. My lord, I am no less lucky to get a listener like you, said Bharati. Well, I'm sure you enchanted the whole audience, commented the king. Bharati's smile vanished. He lowered his voice and said, No, my lord, most of them were whispering among themselves or dozing or were just restless. I can always feel the pulse of an audience while singing. I am so sorry to hear this. Why then did they all come? Wondered the king. My lord, for so many of them, this was an opportunity to show their faces to you. Who does not wish a little familiarity with the king? Explained Bharati. I see. The king did not say anything more. When the time for the next musical event came, the king announced that he who proves himself the best listener will be rewarded with 1,000 rupees. The king had not consulted his minister when he ordered the announcement to be made. Upon hearing it, the minister asked him, My lord, thousands will throng the darbar, lured by the reward. How will you decide who among them is the best listener? It is going to be a difficult task, but I thought that tempted by the reward, people will be attentive to the music and thereby develop a taste for it, said the king. The time for the function came. Bharati was no more available, but those who came to sing were his disciples and highly gifted artists. As soon as the singing started, all the thousands of listeners began swaying their heads and making gestures of appreciation. At the end of the first song, the minister stood up and announced, Gentlemen, you are all aware of the reward. The condition, however, is that no one is allowed to make any movement of his head or hands. Those who violate the condition shall be punished. Thereafter, all sat quiet. But only one man, who was listening with his eyes closed, began to nod his head, keeping with the rhythm, and waved his hands appreciatively. At the end of the second song, the minister whispered some warning to that man. He apologized and promised to sit still. But as soon as the third song began, he began behaving in the same manner. The minister warned him again, and the man promised to abide by his advice. But he could not sit still for more than 2 minutes after the next song began. At the end of the program, the minister asked the man, Did I not warn you that you were likely to lose your head if you kept making those gestures? Did you forget it? Yes, sir. The sweet music made me forget all about it. Well, what is the use of retaining a head that cannot sway in appreciation of such songs? Answered the man. The minister smiled and told the king, My lord, here is the best listener. The king also smiled and agreed with the minister's observation. Thank you.